Good morning, ladies. If you can, grab your phone and scan that QR code or just go to menti.com and use that code. And I was going to get us to share some of these questions through the survey thing. Good morning, ladies. If you can, grab your phone and scan that QR code or just go to menti.com and use that code. And mute. And I'm stuck on the what drains you because I just want to put people working with people, but that wouldn't be helpful, would it?
Gina, what is part of your business that's neutral? Does that mean things you don't really like?
No, it just means like things you have to get done, but it doesn't drain you and it doesn't energize you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Karen.
What's our QR code?
Yeah, so if you do have your phone or if you don't have your phone, you can just go to menti.com and use that code. It just asks you to type it in, no login. You've missed this. I learned about this program a couple weeks ago, and it just kind of makes sharing a little bit easier. You just have to sign your name too at the end of it, which we always forget to do, but it helps kind of, and you can go through these questions at your own pace right now, and then you can kind of talk and discuss them together.
So where do I go to? Why am I echoing?
So two options. You can either scan the QR code with your phone from your camera.
I did that.
Okay. Or you can, and so there's the quiz should pop up, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't have to complete my name or anything like that.
No, you don't have to fill out anything, which is one of the reasons why I liked this program so much or this platform was just because there was no sign in, no login. It was just like, you just do it. And I like that.
I keep forgetting to put my name on them. I don't even know if I submitted the last one.
You know what? We're going to see if we did stage your color though, at least.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I bet it does.
I didn't. I forgot my name too, but I'm red.
You're red? Okay. Okay, sign up for, I wonder if you sign up for it, if that puts your name on there, but who knows? Okay, who do we got on? Hello, everyone. Oh, we got a lot more on, just jumped on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It looks like Jennifer's drinking a beer. Just joking.
Breakfast beer.
It's a breakfast beer. Calm down, everyone. We have, if you see on your screen, two different options. You can grab your phone, use your camera. I just learned that Androids can do this too now, and just hold the camera up to that QR code. It should pop up a link at the top, and you can take these questions with us. It's an easy way to engage without having to go unmute if you don't feel like speaking up, but we can also just use this to be able to talk a little bit better and mastermind around some of these things that we share with each other. Put your name at the end of it, like sign off almost, because that's one thing, it's almost anonymous. If you want it to be anonymous, no problem. Just don't speak up when it's yours. If we ask whose it was, and then we'll go through these together. But I'll go ahead and start. So everybody that's on, if you don't have your phone right next to you, you can go to menti.com, MENTI. It's right there on the screen. And then you can type in that code. Again, no username, no login. You just go to that website, type in that code, and you'll see this as well, which is pretty cool. So I'm still testing this out and kind of seeing all the different features that it has. But so far it's been helpful to, especially for our group, to be able to share as the group is getting a little larger, to be able to share without having to not want to interrupt. You know, sometimes it feels weird to do that. So we listened to The Energy Clock by Molly Fletcher. So, you know, first off, it was Brian Buffini podcast with Molly Fletcher. She wrote The Energy Clock, and she talks about doing an energy audit. And these are those questions that she asked Brian while they're talking to kind of give an example of how to really look at where you're spending your time. We can't, you know, managing your time is hard, but managing your energy is a little bit more doable, because we can choose who we invest our time and energy into, and what we kind of put up a boundary saying, okay, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. And we probably, if we become more aware of this, we know when we're heading down that rabbit hole, right? Sometimes we're there before we can stop ourselves. We're like, oh, we're in the rabbit hole. But at least you are making yourself aware, especially when we're working on projects. I want to say even like admin projects or behind the scenes projects. Sometimes we can go down these long paths where we get stuck on these little things. I've heard a lot of you share that. And I'm like that too, where we get so held up on this one piece of it that we don't move on to the next step, right? Or we don't leave good enough alone. As is Rebecca on, she said, good enough to move on, get Mo. Good enough to move on. That was one of her words of the year. And I liked it because sometimes I need to remember that too, right? Good enough to move on. And so I think that can also take our energy on things that maybe we think are super, super important. But then at the end of the day, what, number one, increases your energy and what makes you money, right? What in, you know, we got to spend our energy on those things. And so sometimes things we have to get done. So any thoughts or takeaways from the podcast that you guys want to share? Did anybody listen to it?
I didn't get to listen to it, but I'm just plugging back in.
Yeah, you are. Well, maybe after this, you'll feel, you'll want to go listen to it. And that's the whole point of this week. It's not necessarily a podcast discussion, because I didn't want you guys to feel like you had to do something before coming to this meeting. We can, of course, discuss and talk about it without having that. I always like going to get some of the good quotes, and it kind of reminds me what you can see all my Molly Fletcher. If you ever go to the website or on the podcast and scroll down, they always pull out some of the quotes, which I really love that he does, because it kind of gives you that, you know, reminds you of what you like about it.
Mm-hmm.
So Molly Fletcher is someone that was in the sports world, and she saw those people that, you know, did the right things and stayed in the industry for a really long time. And now she's trying to apply this to the business world. And so she's taken some of those things and she wrote a book. Buffini said, you know, it's really user friendly and pretty, he says. Like, I guess there's pictures and things, which is interesting. But part of it is just knowing where you're spending your time and really digging into what matters to you. And it kind of goes along with everything we've been talking about this year of aligning our energies with our goals and our what we want to focus on. So hopefully at this point, you guys are feeling pretty good about this and kind of, you know where you need to work on things, know where you can get better. Looking at this, reading some of these, does anything stand out to you, or did something stand out to you in the podcast? Oh, Rachel's in Colleyville.
Hey, hi everyone. I listened to this a long time ago, I think like right when it first came out, and I was super interested in it because I didn't know how to like say how I felt about certain things and like my role. But then I realized, okay, there's certain parts of it that completely drain me, and there's parts that I love. So I'm going to do the things that I love more than I do the things that drain me. But I got into a schedule, or learned how to, I guess, put it on my calendar for when would be appropriate to do the things that drained me. So typically, like my—
Can you give us an example of that, of what you know that kind of drains you? So what time of day do you put that on your calendar, or when do you do it?
Yes. So example was, one-on-one appointments, and that's what I was going to put on the Mentimeter, but like meeting people in person and one-on-one appointments, I love, and that gives me energy. And that's a really like big part of my business. Right. And so I do those all day, every day, but I like them in the morning. Because Gina knows I'm about ready for my next cup of coffee by 3 p.m.
2:30, guys, she's shutting down.
2:30, I turn into a pumpkin. No, I'm just kidding. So I do more admin work kind of at the end of the day. So our following up, texting, whatever, it kind of depends. That's hit or miss. But a good example is my expense report and then Salesforce like database work I typically do on Fridays. And because it's the end of the week, it's kind of like catching up after power hour and stuff. So yeah, because I don't want to do that during the middle of my week and it totally throw me off and make me upset. So
ruin the rest of my week.
Yeah.
Having to do Salesforce.
That's good. I mean, so Fridays are more so my admin days. I typically never have one-on-one appointments on Fridays because I'm tired by then.
Perfect.
Too. Yeah. So
can anybody have something similar that they do, or they save for a special day because they know, that's the day they got to just get it done? No. Okay, good thing we have Mentimeter, because at least you guys are sharing on there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go ahead and read some of these, and if some ideas come to you guys, definitely share those. I love that you guys are sharing on here. I hope that this is helpful and easier to share, and because part of this is just hearing what everybody else is saying, right? And just kind of getting those ideas, because they might relate to you that you didn't think of, that is something that increases my energy, or that is something that drains me that I didn't even realize is draining me. So part of this group, I feel like the best part is the collaboration with each other. And if this is the way we do it, because unmuting ourselves is our draining point of the day, then so be it. So some of you guys, I love on here, how do I pause it? Now this is just going to keep scrolling. Some of you guys shared, I don't like that. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. So pink was Jennifer, making the puzzle pieces work together to help people get in their home. That is energizing when you get that offer in, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to connect and see them get what they want. Writing notes is energizing to you. That's a great one to be able to purposefully do, right? Sometimes you can't get offers accepted when you need the energy, but you can write notes when you need energy, right? So I love that. Let's see here. And that was Debbie Godfrey was red. Make connections and developing relationships. Very good. So that kind of lifts you up, meeting new people and being able to nurture those relationships. Helping my clients achieve a goal they didn't think was possible. That's very energizing, right? You guys feel like you're like superheroes at that moment, right? That you make something happen that they didn't think was possible. Who was this bright pink? Gina Talkington. Very good. Thanks. We're glad you're here. Rachel, she used her emojis because she was on her phone. Meeting with people, one-on-one appointments, and of course, seeing my escrow officers so happy when I connect them with someone. And that's the special part too. It's similar to what you guys do. We're connecting and we're making, those escrow officers light up when they get someone that can really, that's exciting to work with and we enjoy working with. So always fun. Winning the offer or accepting one on the selling end. Melanie. Again, you guys winning those offers right now, you are true superheroes. After Corrine said, after all the hard work of educating and going through the process with my clients, celebrating at the end, such a huge accomplishment, taking pictures and capturing those happy memories. Love that. And that also, Corrine did a great job at painting that picture of what it looks like to get to the finish line, right, guys? And we talk about celebrating the small stuff. Because if you don't celebrate the small stuff, right, and you don't acknowledge what an accomplishment it is, like what you guys are saying, the fact that you made all the puzzle pieces work and you connected the right people together. If you just are grinding and going through the process, the motions, and not really acknowledging how awesome it is at what you do, you're not going to have that energy, right? And you're not going to, we say we got to celebrate those small wins because those are what fuels us for the hard times, right? Because at the end we're taking pictures and we're celebrating, but maybe, it could have been days ago that you were like crying, right? Because you didn't think it was going to go through. And that's like that crazy part of real estate is like, whoa, you don't know when it's going to change. You don't know when it could go explode, or you don't know if it could go really smooth, or you don't know, you could be celebrating the whole time. So I think that's like one of the most, it's the fun part of real estate is that it keeps us on our toes, right? But if we don't celebrate every single moment, then it can become something that we're just running and doing and draining. So celebrating those moments is such a big part of, I think, what we do here. Because it can be very hard. The people increase your energy. Who is yellow? I love interacting with good people, whether it's in a client or other realtors, titles, etc.
That's me.
Which one was me?
Karen,
yellow. Okay.
Yeah.
Meeting with people. Someone else said meeting with people, our second red one. So we get energized when we see people, we're engaging with people. And that's a good thing because you are in real estate, right? And we say you got to talk to people if you want more clients and to build your pipeline.
I swear some people don't like people in real estate. It's really concerning.
Yeah. No, I remember sometimes I was like, do you like talking to people? And they're kind of like, no, not really. But I guess I'll have to do it. And I'm like, oh gosh, it's not going to work like that. People can remember the saying, people can feel you before they hear you, and forcing yourself to meet with people is not going to be a long-term game that you're going to probably win. So it does take a special type of person. You guys want to help people, you want to love on people, and you want to see them achieve. So I think that, or, get to their goals, which I think is really awesome. So these are things that energize us, right? And we could probably say a lot of this could be just as non-energizing too sometimes, right? It kind of feeds into each other. But at the end of the day, it sounds like all of these is getting to the end. What energizes you is that accomplishment, that goal, that the ending, the finish line. So that's good to kind of remember when we're in the hard part, right? So then what is neutral to your business? So this one was, it doesn't drain you. It doesn't energize you, but it just kind of, it's there. We got to do it, right? Like Jennifer said, writing contracts. That's a great example. I said admin work because I like admin work, but now I just kind of have to do it. But there's more things that I like to do. Someone else, I did that because I didn't put my name on it. Someone else said paperwork, tracking numbers, not sure, possibly showing properties. I like that one. And so the idea behind this is it's the stuff that has to get done, right? It's the money-making things. You got to write contracts, you got to show houses, you got to do the paperwork, or what do you got to do? Hire someone to do it for you, right? Become more efficient at it. When you're at that stage of your business, is your time more valuable if you do that exercise of knowing how much your time is worth? How much are you worth hourly? And would it make sense to hire a transaction coordinator to write the contracts or to keep up with all your documents and organize them? Because, I kind of figured that was going to be a big one for you guys is we got to do the work. We got to do the admin work to get paid, right? So that's why we do it. But it's a hard one to really enjoy. You got to do it. So there's a certain point. Is anybody kind of at that point? Are you working on trying to transition from doing that yourself to hiring someone to do some of this?
Yes.
Debbie Godfrey said yes.
I've come to the acceptance and the realization that I am not a paperwork person. And it's just, it is not like I don't even care how much. It was just worth my sanity to be able to have someone else take care of it. So, and that's what I've done. It allows me to do what I feel like I'm better at. And he can do what he's really great at, and together it just works so much better. And I can do so much more.
Hopefully you put admin work on the drain slide. That because it sounds like you already came to that realization. That is not what I needed to be focused on or stressing out on, right? Because part of that is once you free it up, we say you got your mind back, you got your space in your brain back for all those other things that come at us. Because even in the part we enjoy, there's still things that we've got to juggle, right?
Right.
Debbie, where are you at with that?
I've hired somebody.
You have?
I did. And she's doing pretty good. She's new at it. So it's new for me letting somebody else do it.
Yeah.
And then her new at doing it. So it's actually been a really good fit. So then hopefully she can become just all my paperwork person.
Mm-hmm. So and that's a special dynamic too, finding a transaction coordinator that is a pro or finding someone that you can train and grow with, and they do it exactly your way, right? Instead of plugging into someone else's. And Debbie, you kind of like that business side of it too. So I can see you're okay with the, process of it all. And you like creating that too. So doing that alongside, or some other people might not want to even train someone, right? They're like, I don't even have the time to do that, or energy, or Gina saying, no, I do not want to do that. So that's a great one. Someone said social media. It's neutral to you. You do it.
Yeah.
How do you make the time for these things, or how do you become more efficient? I mean, that admin work's an easy one. You either get a good system down where it doesn't kill you anymore, or you hire someone, right?
I think because with JPAR, we have KV Core, which I've now learned because that was one of my goals a month ago, to actually learn all the stuff with it since I was new to that. And it does the automatic posting, but I have found that I've become a little lazy, I guess, in knowing it's just going to post for me. But I need to go in and do like the personal posts that people actually like versus just getting like these little articles and new listings and stuff like that. So I have found now that I'm like, oh, I should post something kind of thing, because I know that those get way more reactions and stuff than the other stuff. So that's something I'm now.
Or we say it, the organic stuff, like the ones that you're posting in the real time, personal versus the scheduled stuff, because we do that too. And you've got to balance them. I would say our suggestion, Rachel and I have kind of realized picking certain days that you post something personal And so that you can just knock it out, and knowing your schedule of what you've already scheduled on your thing. So maybe you need to fill in on the weekend and like one midweek, something personal. And just so that like, okay, once I do it, I can move on, and I just got to post something. What can I post? And look around, find
Right.
or do a video. And everyone, Melanie is in Decatur and there's storms. So that's why she is sketching out over there. Poor thing. I'm glad you're still with us. They moved through here. So it was pretty bad for a second.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because it's pretty dark out there.
Yeah, it was bad here and you were farther west. So, but maybe it would have gone to you first before it came to me. I don't know. I'm glad we're all at home though, right? This is kind of the days that we like this. It's like, okay, we can see people, but not have to leave our house and be in that rain. What else, for those of you that are not at the stage in your business where you're hiring someone to do contracts for you, what's something else that you can think of that you were like, man, when I got into real estate, this was a beating, but now I've kind of got the system down where it's not so bad. Anything?
I feel like everything was a beating at first.
All right, you got
Sure.
I was about to say, I feel like everything for if you're newer in something, but I feel like you get a process down. Like on certain days you do this, and things just become easier because you've had time to figure out what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, what can you guys remember when you were new and it was just like, oh my God, am I ever going to be fast at this?
I felt like I was drinking from a fire hose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like it was just really overwhelming. Like I was
overwhelming.
With my last brokerage, like their big focus was like building your CRM. But then I was like, so what happens when I get a client? Like, I don't know what to do, kind of thing. So, and that's when in the beginning, those poor people that had to deal with all of from my title company to the lenders dealing with I think they were probably the happiest that I was like, I'm just going to get a TC to deal with all of that.
They were like, oh, good.
Yes. I'm surprised there wasn't a GoFundMe for it at this point. But it's just kind of just figuring out and I think for me, it was also the confidence. Like I've always been a very high performer in my other worlds. And so starting my own business and doing this, it was like just understanding more of what it really looks like and doing it, if that makes sense.
That's a great explanation of it, because I feel like if you're good in real estate, which if you've made it X number, if you've made it out of a year or 2 years, that means you're good in real estate because you're still doing it. And I think you have to be a high achiever because you have to be self-motivated to be successful at this, right? You have to have that in you, that drive that a lot of people just don't have. And that's okay. They're doing other things that we need them to do. But I think that is one of the biggest things when you come into this and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do anything. And I used to be really, really, really good at what I do. I think
oh my gosh, that is so true.
Yeah, it's like it messes with your
hurt my soul.
I'm a competent person. Why can't I figure out a CMA? I feel like CMAs was one that I remember my mom specifically just saying, like, she was so nervous about them. And like, she didn't know how or what or where. And like, she just wanted a lot. And I was like, now she does them and she's like, I got it now. I can do them really fast. And so that's an example of something that, you kind of get down your system, right? Anything else you can think of or that reminded you, jogged your memory of moments? How to submit your paperwork, how to look up a property, how to schedule a property. Those are all things we've got to do that become easier, right?
Yeah, all the basics. It's just getting down the foundations for me. Like that took maybe until yesterday.
It's still a work in progress.
It is, but I do feel like I have more confidence than what, like you said, when we first started and, maybe many of us were experts at what we did before. And then to come in and I'm just going to say, I felt like an idiot, like how, so fake. And it's like, okay, I'm not so fake now. I sort of know what I'm doing. So I'm just now getting to
where it's real in real estate, right?
Yeah, I'm getting to where Rachel's saying, it's like, okay, pick a day. I'm like, oh, maybe I can do that now.
Very good. So in your business, where do you spend time that drains you? So I feel like we kind of got into some of this, for me, coordinating, responding, and waiting on others for me to be able to do something. Organizing, creating pop buys, and putting stuff in the CRM. Who was that? Jennifer. Organizing, creating pop buys, and putting stuff in the CRM. So, some of those seem like you can. Organizing what? Just all your stuff.
Everything, but I hired somebody to help me, so I don't have to do it anymore.
Perfect. So that was okay. That's great. Your solution there. And that person helps you with those things specifically, right? Amazing.
Yep.
Right now, it is the items that I'm not good at. Calls, setting up system. Karen.
Yeah, it's just anything that, just like before, like you said, even putting stuff for our market center to be able to get paid, like that was a nightmare, and I'd prefer somebody do it. Now it's like, okay, it really is pretty simple now that I know what I'm doing. So it's more just learning, like, okay, really the problem is I don't know how to do this. So it might be like later on in another year that it's like, truly, I just want to give somebody else all of this work. But I think it's just building the muscles, and like, I dread phone calls because I'm just not good at them.
Mm-hmm.
Or I feel like I'm not good at them because it's just a weak link for me right now, but I feel like it can get better.
And I think especially when you're building the system of touching your database and doing the pipeline, right? Doing the activities.
Yeah.
If we focused on the ones, and that's why I asked at the end, what are you good at? Because if you focus on the ones that you really suck at and that drain you, it's going to drain everything else around you, right? And it's going to, I think Brian said, be really good at caring for the ones, like doing the good stuff. Be really good at serving the good people instead of the bad stuff taking your energy. And so, not to say don't do the calls, but like what Rachel said, maybe set a day that you have that downtime, that it's not going to interfere with your energy for other things, but really focus on do the things that do energize you. So if you've got to pick something in all those action steps, right? And whether it's the calls, the notes, the pop buys, the face-to-face appointments, or open houses, or anything like that that's lead generating, what does fill your energy? And we could have probably asked that question specifically of what lead generating activity gives you energy, right? Because there's some that give you more energy than others. And so first you got to start with the ones that give you energy, to do those well and to get the traction going. And then you've got to plug in those ones that you're weaker at, right? So don't get too caught up on the ones that you suck at right now. I would say, have those kind of at the bottom where, okay, at the end of the week, I'm going to get to that. But do more. If you don't like calls, do more pop buys, do more face-to-face appointments, right? Have those be your focus for the month. Making sure compliance is happy. We talked about that one. The best thing to do if you can't get all those paperwork in is either hire someone or, make sure have a day where you just the process, what they need, where those things are, and how to organize them in your system, right? You've got to create a process or minimize them so they don't drain you. So spending a little bit more time on them to get that system down, process down, is maybe something that needs to happen. I love having listings, but I don't like the process of providing the value to my money happy clients. That's a funny one. Who was that? Melanie? Oh, Melanie. I love that. Process of proving the value to my money happy clients. And I think that's something everyone can kind of relate to right now is, oh my gosh, you pour your heart and soul into your people and that energizes you because you love helping people. And then those people are like, well, can't I do this myself? Or, does that really matter? Or like, are you sure? And you're like, I'm the professional here. Mm-hmm. And, they want a discount, and that can just suck all the energy out of you, mm-hmm. right? The moment someone says, well, can I get it? Someone else is saying they can do this for less. It's like, that just sucks all the energy out. Right.
So both sides though, like you're right, my value, but then also they think, oh, I'm going to get 3 million for this, where it's 1.2 million or something, you know.
Oh, okay. I like the numbers you're using. So you're saying also just it drains you having to show them what the real cost of their, like when you're pricing a home.
Yeah, I think the process of, like somebody else said, you know, running the comps, trying to get all those numbers, and if there's no comps and you have to expand and all
in the other
that whole
agent.
process drains me.
That's a good one, Melanie. That's something that's really real that you've got to do, right? But it's a hard one when people just, you know, they see their home as like their pride and joy, right? The one good thing about, I feel like, the data part, I think it can drain you less if you set up the realistic expectations at the beginning, right? Which we've all talked about, is, you know, okay, when you have that call, and I'm even thinking about the Brian Buffini program, that pathway program, it talks about, you know, first start setting expectations from the moment you set that appointment, where you ask some pre-listing questions, right? So that's already preparing them and preparing you for what do they think is so special about their home, right? So that when you go into it, you already have this knowing, like, okay, they said something about their outdoor kitchen that they did themselves and they love. So when you go and you see it, you can kind of, you know, adjust. So it's like from the moment you start talking to them, you can start setting those expectations. One thing about pricing is it really does come back to data, right? And data is easier to justify because it's just numbers. And it's like, okay, I mean, how do you expect someone to buy your home for that price if there's, you know, they can go buy that home down the road for this, you know, less. So, and at the end of the day, you know, you do work for them and you've got to remind them of that. You can show them all the data that you've created, but to take that drain sucker out from you is say, you know what, we can do what you want. We can sit on the market at that price, but as long as you make the expectation, okay, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever you agree on, if it doesn't move, we don't have traction, we don't have an offer, then we've got to do my plan, right? So I think setting that expectation at the beginning and going, you know, letting them know what the plan is can really help with some of that energy that drains you, right? Which is good. And because you're setting yourself as a professional, you have a plan, they know what to expect, they know what to expect of themselves, of you, and it's all done ahead of time. And I think that's why we talk now so much about the presentation. Brian said, you know, I know we all real estate agents get in it and we're like master winging it, right? We're all really proud that we can wing it real good. And we just have you know, he says, you just have a winning personality and you just go in and you wing it. He goes, but as it gets tougher and more competitive, you've got to be a professional, right? And you've got to treat the whole process professionally. And part of that is at that beginning part is just letting them know, leading them instead of letting them lead you, because having your client lead you, that's a drainer, right? You're like, geez, now what are you telling me I need to do? And like, I'm the real estate agent, right? Thoughts on that, guys? Can anybody relate to that? Everyone else loves that process, pricing? No? Does anybody love pricing, that part? Because if you do, I want to know, like, you know, what part of it and how have you made it easier and what do you do? But if you don't and you have to do it, what do you do? Does some of that resonate with you of what we just mentioned? Does setting expectations help?
Yes. And having boundaries. I think that's so important, not feeling like you have to do something at a certain time just because someone wants it right then and there. I think that's become like a huge issue in our world in general, and people being impatient. And I'm like, I'm in a meeting for an hour and I can't respond to you immediately, you know, and it's just, I don't even say sorry anymore unless it's something that you really should be sorry for, you know? So I think that's something I've learned too, is to not say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I've been in a meeting, it's like you don't ever have to explain yourself, but setting boundaries for you and your clients, I think is really good. And letting them know, or if you have kiddos or if you have something else going on, hey, I might be in a meeting or I might be in a school thing for my kids. So I'll respond to you as soon as I see your text or call,
No, yeah. I mean, that was on my thing, responding, it's because we are in a society that we are tagged and talked to in so many different funnels, right? So many different channels where we got to give ourselves credit for that because, 5 years ago, professionals weren't dealing with that, right? Yeah. Like you had you had a phone call, a voicemail, or an email. And now we have, text messages blowing up our phones every day. And we have messages that we don't want to miss if it is somebody reaching out to us that doesn't have our phone number on social media, or all the different ways you can have 20 different conversations going on your phone. And that's a lot. And we feel, I know a lot of you as well, when you get in real estate, you feel like you have to respond to everything so quickly or someone's going to, be mad at you or walk away from you. And again, if you set those realistic expectations from the beginning of what, when you respond and how, what your day looks like, checking in with them. If it's a buyer that has something that needs to go, they need to be sense of urgency, which is great, then you need to check in with them every day. Like, hey, I'm going to be out of pocket from this time to this time. But other than that, most people should understand, and we need to give ourselves the grace not to feel like you have to respond, right? Because we talk about getting our action steps done. And that's the biggest thing that most people say is distractions from responding to people coming in during that 1 hour. We're like, we can't focus that 1 hour just on that one thing because we have all these other things. And if I wait and if I don't answer them, then I'm going to have to answer them afterwards. And I'm going to be behind in my whole day and it's all going to just go crazy. But in reality, when you can really dedicate that time and be present, 100% present, it really does. And you can do that one thing really well. It makes you feel good and it energizes you for those other responses, right? Instead of trying to balance it all in that moment. And we can do that. I mean, that's relatable in a lot of different things, being present, because there's so many ways you can get distracted just by this one thing. That usually when we're doing things, we actually need it to look up things. So it's hard to put it in another room, right? Because you're like, okay, well, I need to go look that up in my phone. There was a note in there, or there's something I needed to, see, right?
You just made me think of, because I think I mentioned doing power hours every morning now because they're so helpful for me. It's something about just focusing on one or a couple things for an hour and setting that expectation with people or your clients from 8:30 to 9:30, I'll be doing I'm in an appointment, and then you get to everything else later. Cause I know, and Gina's probably mentioned this, but our sales manager, he has so much on his plate. He knocks out everything that he needs to do before 8 a.m. because then his day is kind of crazy, granted it's a little bit different, but I know we feel like that some days too, where it's your day can just completely take you over if you don't have time scheduled to really do your action items. So that's also my little pitch to come to Power Hour because
I think really too,
so helpful.
And what's funny is, okay, first people, they want to do that and it sounds good. It's that makes sense. I can get my note cards done, which I need to get done. But what you're kind of showing too, Rachel, now that you're wanting to step it up a notch and kind of do them every day, is now it's a habit that you just want in your schedule, right? And that's the goal. But if you had started there, I'm going to do this every single morning, you probably wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
And you would have been discouraged and you would have just quit. But you built it up with 1 power hour a week. And then it became a habit. And then it was 2 power hours. So I always like examples of where it's that transition of something becoming something you want to do, something you actually do, and then something that you can build on and it become a habit where it's just part of your day. And instead of telling people when you can't talk, what about turning it into telling people, hey, every day after, 9:30, I'm available and you can reach out to me. I'm usually in the office till about noon. And then I'm probably running appointments after that. So you're giving them a window of really 9 to noon, because that's when your appointments start, of being able to reach out to, knowing that you're available at that time. But you've got to have a schedule in order to tell people when you're available.
Yeah, I like that positive view though. And I wouldn't say that I do this perfectly or really do it at all. I put on there, mine was the thing, like I multitask all the time, which I'll probably see because you feel like you're never going to catch up. It's like you want to do it all as soon as you can. But that's not helpful either. But I was going to say, Gina, you saying that made me think, or Jennifer gave me, she read Atomic Habits and then gave it to me. And I've really like been reading it lately. And that's exactly what it is. It's like just doing small things and you do a little, you know, each time, and then it actually becomes a habit and then you want more of it. And I love seeing that. You can see the product of, oh, wow, this really works. And even if you don't want to do your 10 note cards in one day, then start doing 2 a day and keep doing, you know, keep up with the habit. And then sooner or later, it's like you can't go to sleep without writing your 2 note cards every day, you know?
Wouldn't it be nice to get to that point?
Well, but I kind of do feel like with power hours, I'm there. Like I know exactly what I'm doing Mondays during my power hour and on Fridays. And so you just stick to it. And I can trust my system where I don't have to think too much.
Yep, it frees up your brain. Does anybody else have anything like that you've become very systemized in and it's become a habit over the last year?
I don't have anything that I can say that I've done that, except what I have read, and I think it was in Eat That Frog, that they were like, and y'all are mentioning this, is to do it, and even if it takes like, just do it for 15 minutes. So if you're doing it for 15 minutes a day, or 15 minutes on Monday and 15 minutes on Friday, then add another 15 minutes later on. So you build the habit. To me, I equate it to like working out. You're building the muscles to be able to do it at all, or to do it longer.
And you're helping yourself with a baby step plan, kind of.
Yeah.
Right? I've heard someone say, like, if you can't wake up 5 minutes early and then 10 minutes early and then enough to get to the gym. And it's like, just go. Don't worry about what you're going to do there. And it's like super baby steps. So I think that's good too. What part of your business do you feel like you get to use your gifts and skills? I love this one. Who is yellow? Events, creating pop buys. Debbie?
I bet it's Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Karen, working with people, negotiations, transactions. I like my creativity, organization, negotiating, putting out fires, keeping the peace with clients, and calming them down when they're panicked. I like that. That's a skill that a lot of people don't understand they need when they get into real estate, right? It's like, you got to be you can't be the one freaking out with the hair on fire, right? You've got to help them get to be calm. And that's sometimes a hard part. Delegate. What do you have to put into place to not feel drained? Stick to time blocks, arrive to work at a set time and leave at a set time if not working with clients directly. I love that. That's good at having those boundaries, right? Shorten hours, make time for my family, trusting the Lord more than I do. What?
Sorry.
More than I do not have to work.
He will provide, I guess. Sorry. I didn't know I answered that one twice. I must not have hit the next question.
No, you did good. You did good. Everything will work out. And that's a part of real estate faith. I think you have to believe everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out. And you've got to help make sure that your clients can have that little bit of faith too, or it becomes hard, right? Mm-hmm. Someone wants to put a transaction coordinator into place. Strengthening my weaknesses, extend the times as I go on, or put on multiple times a day. Not respond immediately and taking more time to get more systems in place. Perfect. So I hope that was helpful, just to kind of hear maybe people having the same issues you are, or other things that you can also be better at, ideas. So last 15 minutes, I do like, because a couple of you shared some books and things, but we talked about during this mastermind discussion at the last part of it, I feel like this is making me more structured too, as having this. But we talk about the Our Idea Factory that we have gone over before. We try to keep it in the front of our brains throughout the year. But it's so that we can remember this little guy. But if you guys want to share in this one, go to menti.com. If you guys want the download. So share what you guys are doing that works with each other, because this was the part of sharing the ideas. It could be a book we're reading. You guys mentioned Atomic Habits, Eat the Frog. There's the QR code for this one. Look how tech savvy I am. Also, here's a link. I can do it so many different ways. Oh, you guys were sharing. Here's the link for that. But I want us to share too, because this was something good. Share what's working. Minimize so you can see the QR code. There's the QR code. So share what's working in getting reviews. Has anybody had any success stories in getting reviews, getting referrals, getting sharing recommendations? We talked a lot about that. Having a consistent thing where you promote or you ask for recommendations, what you're reading or listening to, real estate win. What do you guys have currently listed that you need help with, buyers you need help with, or just real life win that you want to share, or something that's working in creating boundaries or balancing it or whatever. So thoughts? Think about that. Any new listings, buyers that you guys are needing? This is your guys' time to kind of share with each other.
New buyer that needs a 3.2 265.
Okay, 3.2 265. What area?
Well, this is the problem. He's like flexible. Arlington, Watauga, you know, the kind of that around Arlington, because that's where he works.
Okay.
And let's say you have it 250. He has the money to make it 265.
Okay.
So that's why I said 265, because if you said you have a 265.
That's a tough one. Or I guess you'd need it coming soon, huh? Here, write that out in this so that we can see it and remember it. I need to like visually see it. Anyone else? And you can definitely unmute yourself. I have it in my calendar to ask for a review and post a review once a month. Okay, that's good. We probably should all do that. Recommendations, Alice in Dallas. What is that?
Oh, I said it as a joke because that's the one that I posted on Monday, but it is the cutest restaurant in Dallas. So you gotta go for like a girlfriend's lunch or dinner or something. But I just mean, you know, like the must-have Mondays, but being that person that recommends, so people come to you for anything and everything. And that's what I really love, because it starts really good conversations with me too. And just, you know.
And that energizes you too. And that's the whole, I mean, we talk about that in the Working by Referral class, is like, we want to be that person they think of if they need anything, right? Do you guys agree with that as a real estate agent? Like, you want to be that go-to person. So how do you build that reputation, right? I mean, and it doesn't have to be on social. This could be something where you're constantly texting, you know, these people, things that you see, recommendations. Hey, I just tried out this great restaurant. I know you guys like going out to eat. You guys should check it out. We're connecting them, asking people what businesses that you can promote of theirs, right?
And I wish more people did this, and I feel weird doing it sometimes or thinking about it, but people sharing like really good deals or like coupons. I'm like, come on, I want to see like what y'all are doing, or a good deal that someone's gotten, you know. That's a good one.
Yeah, because Retail Me Not coupons do not work anymore.
Oh, they don't?
Although there's like those coupon websites where it's like, here's a code, and it's like the promo codes never work. I always try that though first. Anything else, guys? Reading, listening. What are you guys reading and listening to right now? Or what do you have on your desk to read, or your nightstand to read one day? Next.
if y'all haven't read Atomic Habits, it really is amazing. And I
So
have reading.
after you've read that, remember my little exercise, like working through everything of your habits? Remember that?
I think so.
That was all based on Atomic Habits.
Oh, wow.
So it probably makes more sense now, like the worksheet. Remember that?
I can't say I keep up with, I mean,
No, you did it, and you said it did help you.
oh yeah, that's great. Yeah. Jennifer's cracking up. I literally, when you say a worksheet, I had 9 million of your worksheets go through my head. Like you automatically knew which one you were talking about. I have no idea.
Well, I couldn't get it to you guys fast enough. So it was that exercise I did where I
remember
asked
it.
questions and I told you guys to write it out.
Oh yeah, that was so fun. Of course I remember that.
It was a good one. Atomic Habits is a really good book. Eat That Frog. I'm reading Get Out of Your Head.
Oh, Get Out of Your Head is so good. Me and Gina did that devotional in the Bible app, didn't we?
I think so, yeah. I think I have that one too. I need to read. I need to read. What else? Fire needs horse permitted acreage in Alliance corridor under 500K. Who is that?
That was me.
Jamie needs a horse permitted acreage in Alliance.
Jamie, isn't there a certain amount of acres you have to have in order to have a horse?
It's really the whatever the restrictions are, the deed restrictions. Some of them have it and some of them don't.
Okay, because I thought it had to be over a certain amount of acres.
Well, he's looking for a couple, like 2 to 3. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I was like,
a cow, you need so many acres. A horse, you need so many acres.
Right? I
A
think it
bees,
is
you need
something
so
like
many
that.
Acres.
Probably.
But who really knows all those rules?
But is he just looking for land? Because under
No,
500,000.
home.
And a home.
Home, preferably not a mobile home, which most of them are.
Yeah, I would think at that price.
Oh, damn.
I mean, the area is just too popular. I was thinking, I know somebody in Keller that is going to have land almost 10 acres, but I bet it's going to be.
Oh yeah, it'll be expensive.
Yeah.
Keller.
If he could, I just realized that there's actually acreage in Hearst that you can put horses off 10. If something could come up over there. It's a little bit away from Alliance, but at least I had no idea there's even acreage and you can get it for under 500.
I think he wants to be in ISD.
Oh.
No.
I was going to ask that too. Can he go a little bit north? Because like Justin might have something like that, which is just a little bit farther north.
I'm looking in Justin and Hazlitt, even up to Boyd.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been fun.
It's been fun. Anything else? Jennifer, what are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book called Making God Laugh or something. I don't know. My mom gave it to me. I've only read a chapter of it.
Oh.
What's like the moral of the story?
Yeah. Give us the.
Like you think you're in control of your life and
you're not.
Just making God laugh. So just figure out how to like do it his way.
Yeah.
And it teaches you how to pray a little bit better because my mind wanders when I try praying. So it's kind of
Jennifer, I might need that book.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's easy to read.
Any type of prayer, I learned anything is good, like no matter how you do it. So
mine always ends with my grocery list and I'm like, dang it, I was praying.
Sometimes it just
are you telling God what you need from the grocery store?
Lord, please get me some good bananas.
That reminds me, making God smile.
Laugh.
I heard God laugh. How come I'm not finding this on?
I don't know. It's in my cart. Let me try to.
If it's not on Amazon, then it's not real.
By Matthew Kelly.
Oh, I heard God laugh. A practical guide to life's essential daily habits. Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Matthew Kelly.
Oh yeah, that's what it looks like.
I heard God laugh. I used to say that a lot, actually. Like, oh, I bet God's laughing at me right now. Like, what a jokester. She thought she figured it out and she didn't. Okay, I like that. We'll just
Only a chapter in, but it's good so far.
Well, it helps. It reminds me of, remember the movie Eat, Love, Pray, where she's trying to meditate and she's like, she can't do it. Like she just, it keeps like going into like her laundry list, like what she needs to do and like what she thinks about the decorations in the room. And that's usually me.
Yeah, me too.
I just got the book for our alliance team. We're going to read it together. It's Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, which I know isn't like necessarily new, but Brene is so good if you haven't listened to her either.
I read that book.
Did you read that, Gina? I think you did.
I actually read that one.
Yeah. Well, I thought you would really like it. Do you think that's a good one for us to read? I did a lot of research.
I think it's a great one for teams to read because it almost kind of sets the guidelines of how you should be. Like it's a really like instructional book of like, okay, when you're at a team meeting, how do you make it so that everyone can share? And this could apply to family or anything, but it really tells you what you can do as a leader in those situations. But if everybody's reading it together and you're coming together as a team, I think it's everyone's job to kind of facilitate that environment to share and facilitate like where no judgment and you have, just say whatever. Yeah. So I think that's really good for the team to read.
Cool. No, I think it'll be a good one. They have workbooks too. So if
you know what, I think I gave mine to Melinda and I'd like that back.
Cool.
Just joking. That's a good one, guys. But more if you're leading, it's very business. Like she's leading large business and stuff like that. Anything else? Thoughts, questions? Thanks for staying on. We had some people bow out. I finally figured out how to stream this to YouTube. So that's it.
I have something. You made those graphics that are like grateful for small business owners. It's like Small Business Owner Week. And Gina made cute ones that have ones that say like, I'm a realtor, I'm a small business, refer me kind of thing. But I think it's good for even y'all to do a post that's like, here are my small business owners, would love to support you, connect, see what we can do. Oh, look at her because she's so organized. She can just pull it up. I mean, I want to be more like Gina every day of my life.
So yeah, I made these. I saw this the week of the 16th through the 20th is National Small Business Week. So I was making, like tag a small business, which we can all do. But also I was like, you know what? Everyone needs to understand real estate is small business. Love your agent, refer your agent. So I thought that was good for you guys to be able to post.
That's a good one too, that y'all could text out to your clients or some that haven't left you a review. And ask for a review. Like, why did you love working with me? I'm always trying to grow my business.
Tell me how great I am.
Tell me how wonderful I am and post it everywhere. And send me all.
Where do I find these?
These graphics? Oh, they're probably 100 different places.
900 places, which makes it harder.
I know. How do I get better at that?
It's so hard. I think you're so accommodating. I mean, it's really a great quality.
No, and actually these did not go out in All Things May just because I found out about the whole week after. I'm going to send it to all of you guys right now. Everybody in the Pathway group or in the.
I was about to say I can text it to him because I have him on my phone, but you got him. If you want to, I can do it.
Go ahead and text this group. I'm going to send out the email to the whole bigger group.
Karen, Jamie, Debbie. Okay. Debbie, you're never on camera and I want to see your face. Debbie Davis. If you can hear us.
I'm sorry. Our internet keeps going out and I keep losing you guys.
Aw, that's okay.
We're having a storm right now.
Oh, yes.
He's up north with Melanie.
Yeah, I'm up here. And so you guys keep freezing on me.
Oh, no.
All right,
I'm
ladies.
down here in Mansfield and we're not having storms, but they keep freezing on me too. So I'm figuring it's just my internet.
I don't know. Maybe it's just life.
Maybe it's just life. Maybe this is it. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Next week is oh gosh, I've been really bad at these, but I feel like it always works out, so I don't stress too much about it. But like next week is the exclusive class. Anything you guys want to talk about, hear about? We could kind of even go through negotiation, because I know that was one of our things. It was like negotiations, new builds, relocation people. What do you guys want to hear about?
We do.
What do you want?
Well, because half the time on one half and half the time on the other. I heard somebody say yesterday that relos are really good right now because you can still get warranties. They'll more possibly, they're not looking for the highest dollar. They just want to sell it to somebody, get it off their books for reloads. That's what I heard yesterday. I don't know if that's true, if anybody else has come across it.
You mean relocations like, bye Rachel,
Gotta go, y'all.
like people moving from here away?
Yeah, moving away, that they're relocating someplace else, so a relo company has it. So I not that we have to do that. It was just one of the things that I've heard. But I always love negotiations and new builds too, just because the more experience, the better.
Yeah, no, I have that new build series because I didn't really know where to begin with that, because they're all so different. So there's that new build series that starts next month that you can get your certification for. I may use some
Did you send that to us? I haven't looked at anything in like 3 weeks. So
yeah, I can send you that too. I'll send that in the email, but I might even pull out some of the negotiation scripting. I feel like scripting might be something to work on together because it's something nobody really wants to do, but I feel like, but you want to do it. It's like you want to get better at it and you want to do it, but then when we're doing it, you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to say anything out loud. So I feel like we might kind of go over some different scripting scenarios, maybe use some Buffini ones with negotiating. Does that sound good?
that sounds great.
So bringing different scenarios that you need help working through, and we can talk those out together too. All right, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
All right, ladies. Well, I appreciate you guys showing up, and we'll see you soon.